Hi, in this video I'd like to talk about City Council itself. There's been a perception among a large swath of the populace in Charlottesville that the last several city councils have not functioned well. True, the events of August 2017 were highly unusual. They sort of felt like they came out of the blue, and they were unexpected. And for a city of our size, we weren't prepared for those things. Nevertheless, I think that the perception of a lack of functionality makes sense. I think there's some basis in reality of it. I think this dysfunction, many people would say, has most visibly has spilled over into city council meetings. And again, I spoke about this in another video about the idea of civility and a desire to return to normalcy. For many people, this is a real concern. So I think it's worth asking two questions at this point. First, what is the role of a city councilor? And second, what is the role or function of a city council meeting? So I'm going to start with the second question first. What is the point and function of a city council meeting? I think sometimes lost in the hubbub of meetings that we should really remember that the first point and reason for a city council meeting is to do the business for the city as a whole. It's to do the business for all citizens, even those who aren't physically present. The second role or function, purpose of a city council meeting is, of course, to listen to specific complaints or grievances or points of view given at the dais. It is a point in place and time for members of the community to be able to engage with city council. It's unclear to me that that the extensive comments that can go away into the early mornings, that is sustainable for the city. I'm hopeful that we can find a different venue or format in which some of that can be expressed. What about the role of a city councilor? So city councilors are representatives, they're not mere designees. So on the one hand, it is incredibly important for them to represent the people that elected them, to be responsive and to listen and to do the will of the people. On the other hand, they are elected to be representatives, so they are expected and need to use their own judgment about topics as well, of course. Now, I believe as well that there's a distinction for a city councilor between being an advocate for a particular issue and, on the other hand, having a very narrow agenda about something. City councilors absolutely need to advocate for things that got them elected, for particular issues that come up, particularly for things having to do with equity and justice, things that are in the strategic plan for the city. Those are things that councilors absolutely need to advocate for. But there's a difference between that, I think, and having a narrow agenda. That narrow agenda might be a very divisive issue, that there's not a lot of consensus in the community that should be followed, or that narrow agenda could be for advancing a political career or something like that, or some other personal interest. I really think that these kinds of narrow agendas really shouldn't be part of what a city councilor should be thinking or doing. So I believe that a successful council really involves strong interpersonal relationships with the members on council. One unintended consequence of the open meeting laws, which are great laws in intent and to improve transparency, is that it's not the case that councilors can just sort of go behind closed doors and hash things out. Everything has to be done in public. So what that requires then is lots of one-on-one conversations on the phone or in person between councilors individually to build, to work through differences and to try to come to some level of function and coherence. Honoring people and their personal story is something that's very important to me. And so if I'm elected to council, I would be looking forward to building strong personal relationships, both with existing and new councilors. Thank you for taking time to watch.